Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ Live here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift.NoDQ. We are coming off Smackdown Live. We know some more about Money in the Bank. The card is shaping up. We now know the stipulation for AJ Styles versus Shin, aka Shinsuke Nakamura. We also know a few more Money in the Bank match participants. Hello to everyone in the chat room watching live. We have Virtue, Big Jeffrey, Interstate Kyle, Cindy, Kayfabe Candy Ass, and a whole lot of others. So thank you all very much for tuning in. The moderators are in full force, so watch what you say in the chat room. If you're watching on demand, thank you as well for checking out NoDQ, not so live if you're watching on demand. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about SmackDown Live. It kicked off with Miz TV, of course. The Miz, one of the few bright spots in WWE right now as far as I'm concerned. The Miz did get a little cheap plug for his show, Mr. and Mrs., or whatever it's called. Dakota just sent in a $2 super chat donation. Only watched the main event. Product is so boring. I do think SmackDown was better than Raw. I will go ahead and say that right off the bat. But that's pretty much a given every single week. SmackDown is back to being the A show, and it might be the A show for a very long time once this Fox deal goes into effect. The show is called Ms. and Mrs. Thank you for that. I think I said, I'm not sure what I said, Mr. and Mrs. I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, The Miz plugged his show. He got the crowd to chant for him, which was cool because The Miz is one of those guys that even though he gets booed, the fans still love to boo the guy. The fans respect The Miz. Miz brought out the New Day and wanted to know which New Day member. First he asked who, which of course got the who response. So Miz said, okay, which one? And then they were like, which? This was actually a funny segment. By modern New Day standards, I will say that this was somewhat amusing. I did enjoy it, but I think a lot of it was just the Miz's reaction to the New Day being completely over the top and ridiculous. You would think with a Money in the Bank opportunity on the line and the chance to become WWE champion, you think these guys would take it a little bit more seriously. It's not like they're going to be determining who gets an opportunity at the United States title or a low-level championship. This is potentially the opportunity to become WWE champion, and they're making jokes about it. So it is a little weird that we're getting this kind of comedy in what's supposed to be a serious main event level storyline, but whatever. I do think it was the best New Day segment in months. I do agree with you, Travis W. And then they started throwing pancakes at The Miz. That was funny too. Again, I think a lot of it was just The Miz. The Miz reacting to it, I thought made it a really entertaining segment. More so than New Day. I think it's The Miz being the fall guy for the New Day's antics that made it a fun segment. Chris Mace asked about Randy Orton. Randy Orton had knee surgery, so he is out of action for the time being. Probably 2 months, but could be longer than that. I'm sure a lot of you guys are not going to miss him that much anyways. Back to SmackDown, we had this opening segment. Of course, because it's typical WWE, the opening segment has to lead to a match. By the way, I got a couple of super chat donations here. Let me plug them real quick. Axel, taking us completely off topic. Axel with a $5 super chat donation. Why is it WWE using EC3 and NXT? It doesn't really matter if they use him on the weekly shows because I don't think a lot of people are watching the weekly shows. I think EC3 as long as he's on the main shows, on the takeovers. I think that's what's most important. And the other super chat donation from Tommy: missed the streams, working a lot, I'm back, go Kyle. Tommy, of course, Interstate Kyle's #1 fan, and he was on NoDQ Live a couple of weeks ago. So yes, Kyle has a fan, believe it or not, folks. And for anyone else that might be sending in super chat donations, if you want to send me something off topic, please send in your super chat after I finish the SmackDown review. I want to try and stick to the topic of SmackDown Live. If you're going to send one now, try to stick to whatever topic I'm talking about with SmackDown Live. Anyways, let's move on here. So we had The Miz versus Biggie, and I like the little tease that it was going to be Biggie, but it was Biggie chosen by the New Day to face The Miz rather than Biggie chosen for Money in the Bank. We still don't know who the New Day member that will be in Money in the Bank at this time. My gut feeling is it'll be Big E, but could end up being Kofi or Xavier if WWE wants one of them to do the high spots. Tommy just sent in a $2 super chat donation. I hope to do a future video. Backlash was fun. We'll definitely have you on again at some point, Tommy. You were a great panel person, even though you weren't technically on a panel. You were just calling in. Maybe if we do a future NoDQ panel video, we'll get you on for one of those. Thank you again, Tommy. Miz picked up the victory over Big E due to the outside interference of The Bar, Sheamus, and Cesaro. If SmackDown was a 3-hour show, I bet you we would have this 6-man tag team match immediately afterwards. But since SmackDown's only 2 hours, they have to save something for next week. So next week, we get the 6-man tag team match. Whatever. It's just filler, but I did enjoy the opening Miz TV segment. Moving on here, we had a qualifying match for Money in the Bank. We had Sonya Deville in a one-on-one match. She did not win, but she was in a match against Naomi. Naomi picked up the win. Maybe Naomi will win Money in the Bank. What do you guys think about that? Maybe a glow-in-the-dark briefcase? You could do that. I'm still surprised that she did not have a longer reign because I think that Glow Championship, they could have sold some replicas of that. Maybe they weren't selling or maybe too expensive to make. I don't know, but I just feel like WWE could have put together some glow-in-the-dark replica titles and made some money off of that. But a lot of you don't seem to be fans of Naomi winning, so enough of that. It seems like Becky Lynch is the sympathetic favorite in the NoDQ chat room. Yeah, Rooster says Naomi sucks. Axel says, ugh, I hope not. We had another match. We had Lana versus Billie Kay, which really wasn't a match. It was more just theatrics than anything else. We had Aiden English do the introduction for Lana, which was really good, as usual. Aiden English is such a good hype man. He hypes up Rusev really well. He hypes up Lana really well. He got the chant going, Lana's the best, Lana #1, clap, clap, whatever it is. But I think that's something that could really catch on with Aiden English doing it. He's awesome. Aiden English is the man. One of the highlights of SmackDown along with The Miz. Big Jeffrey just sent in a $5 super chat donation. He says, Lana is the best, Lana #1. So he is definitely a big fan of Lana, especially when the lights are out. Let's move on here and talk about the Lana match. It really wasn't a match, like I said. There was a lot of stalling on the outside. It was Lana versus Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. We had Aiden English hold up a Lana sign, which was funny. And Cindy says RIP Iconics push. So it's the situation where they lose one match, they're being buried. I think if anything buried them, it was the singing. To me, that was like go away heat. That wasn't like, I want to see somebody beat you gals up. I just don't want to see you on my television. That's just me, though. I thought like it was too annoying. There's a fine line between a little annoying where you want to see this guy get beat up or gal get beat up, but then it just crosses a line where it's just bad television. I think it crossed that line. I just found it to be annoying where if I was a casual viewer, I might just turn off my television set. I'm not thinking in my head, oh, I want to see Lana beat up these people. I just don't want to watch this. How did you guys feel about it? Did you feel like it was the right kind of annoying, or do you feel it was like the go away heat? Let me know in the chat room what you think. But anyways, there was a lot of stalling, and Lana picked up a quick victory. I feel like they're trying to protect Lana by not having her do too much, not expose her. And I think that that's a bad sign, the fact that she's been around now in the ring for a couple of years, and WWE still doesn't feel comfortable with her doing a lengthy one-on-one match. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good sign for her. The best thing she has going for her, I think, is Aiden English being her pitch man. A lot of you say it's go away heat. Cindy says it, Steven says it, Offman Rules says it was X-Pac heat. TJS wants to know, is Rusev Day babyface? I feel like they should. I don't know. I mean, definitely in this match, Lana was a babyface and Aiden English was a babyface. The Iconics were clearly out there doing the heel heat thing. Chris Butler says it was Vicky Guerrero heat. But see, the thing with Vicky is, like, I thought that was the right amount of annoying. I thought Vicky was annoying in an entertaining way. I just thought that the Iconics were just flat out annoying to the point where I don't want to watch it. Just my take on it. And somebody in the chat room asked about Asuka, where was she? There was a promo by Carmella to hype up the match at Money in the Bank, and that was pretty much it. I feel like Carmella is more in that well-defined area of having the right amount of annoying personality. I feel like she does it just enough without going overboard and being too annoying and too obnoxious. But she could end up crossing that line at some point, who knows. But right now, I think she does it just right to the point where you want to see Asuka kick her head in. Rooster says Aiden English is so far and beyond Ellsworthless. I'm not sure what you're trying to say by that, but I hope that's not an insult, because Aiden English is the man. That guy and The Miz are two of the best people on SmackDown Live right now, along with Daniel Bryan. And I would have said before, the Usos. But, like, what's going on with the Usos? They had a match, finally. I think their first match in a few weeks against Anderson and Gallows, and they got beat. So it's going to be Anderson and Gallows against the Harper and Rowan team, the Bludgeon Brothers. I don't know. I know on one hand, I like the fact that Anderson and Gallows are getting pushed, but it feels like the Usos are going nowhere now. They were so hot. They were red hot, and now they feel like they're completely insignificant. And I don't think Anderson and Gallows are going to win the titles. I think this is just a filler match, just something for the Bludgeon Brothers to do. I don't know who you build up for the Bludgeon Brothers. Maybe Sanity. People are asking about Sanity. We still haven't seen them, but doesn't really surprise me because WWE doesn't know what to do with Authors of Pain. Those guys have not been on TV as of late, and Sanity hasn't even debuted yet. We had Andrade Cien Almas, who did compete on SmackDown Live, once again winning a squash match. So WWE's just trying to establish him with the casual fans, which is fine. At least he's getting TV time. At least he's winning matches. No problem with that. Travis W. says, Virtue is right. They got tired of the Usos stealing the show. Yeah, I'm really frustrated about the Usos. Like, I feel they're on their way to being completely irrelevant in WWE right now. DJ Whitey, who apparently has been living under a rock for the past couple months. Yo, Aaron, what happened to Big Vito? Will you guys get another former wrestler on the panel one day? Big Vito has other projects he's working on, which is fine because we got a good thing going with the NoDQ review. We got some really talented people on. We have Jeff Meacham, we have Greg Cherry, we have TJS on sometimes, and it's working out fine for us. I am very grateful that Big Vito was on, but he's doing other things right now. The door is open, of course, for him to come back at some point. As far as former wrestlers on the panel, again, I'm open to people being on, and if the right opportunity comes along, you'll see somebody else in that spot. TJS says no more Big Vito, only TJS. Wow, what an ego, TJS. So let's go back to SmackDown Live. Thank you, though, for the Super Chat donation, DJ Whitey, DJ Witty. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I still don't. I don't think I ever will. But I'll just call you DJW to make it easier. That's what I call TJS. I just go with the initials instead of Tyler Joseph Smith because you say it fast 3 times and you're bound to mess it up. So let's go back to SmackDown Live. I'm trying to think what else happened on the show that I missed, that I did not talk about. I think I covered pretty much everything, but if I did miss something, let me know in the chat room. I will talk about the main event, of course, Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy. First ever encounter, so WWE is really going through these matches. We had Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles have their first match on SmackDown. We had tonight Daniel Bryan versus Jeff Hardy in their first match. Jeff Hardy won. Actually, excuse me. Correction. Daniel Bryan won. Daniel Bryan, in fact, tapped out Jeff Hardy with the heel hook, and I was a little surprised by that. I mean, I figured if Big Cass wasn't interfering that Daniel Bryan would win, but Bryan winning with the heel hook, changing it up a little bit. How about that? Jeff Hardy tapping out the United States champion. I was a little surprised by that. It was Daniel Bryan's birthday, so I guess Bryan got a nice happy birthday gift by going over Jeff Hardy. Bryan, of course, worked over Hardy's knee during the match, and that ended up helping Bryan pick up the victory in the end. Samoa Joe was on commentary. And after the match, Joe cut a promo on Bryan. Next week, it's Daniel Bryan versus Samoa Joe for the final Money in the Bank men's match spot. So next week, we're going to have the first Daniel Bryan Samoa Joe match in WWE. Kurapika07 says Jeff Hardy looked like he was working hurt, though. That is a possibility. There were reports that Hardy was limping during the European tour, so maybe he's legitimately hurt, and that's why this was a pretty straightforward win for Daniel Bryan, and they didn't do a very lengthy match on this show. Arrow to the Knee says that dragon screw was beautiful. TJS says it was brutal. So beautiful, brutal, people have all sorts of different opinions on it. Chris May says Hardy could be dropping the U.S. title soon. And I also wanted to talk about AJ Styles and Nakamura, since that is one segment I haven't mentioned yet. I don't know how I feel about the stipulation. I'm like, Last man standing match is what Nakamura eventually announced after he beat the crap out of Daniel Bryan. And prior to that, he joked that they were going to have a pillow fight. That was funny. I did enjoy that line. Nakamura ended up beating up AJ Styles on the outside of the ring, hit the Kinshasa, and then did the 10 count, and then got on the mic and said, it's going to be a last man standing match at Money in the Bank. Here's why I'm really not feeling it, because the purpose of a stipulation match should be to prevent what happened in the previous match from not happening again. And I feel like, what's the point of this match when the same exact thing can happen again? Both guys could give each other low blows, and then they could both be counted out in a last man standing match. We've seen several last man standing matches end in draws. Why not do a match where there's no draw, where somebody has to win. I'm just not a fan of the stipulation. It just doesn't really make sense to me. If it's a draw again, wow. What a no DQ live that will be. You guys will hear a rant from me for sure if there's yet another indecisive finish to that match. Some sort of screw job. I'm just not a big fan. I think they should have done like a falls count anywhere match or balls count anywhere match, as Kevin puts it. A few people in the chat room are saying an I Quit match. I mean, that definitely would have been a very solid match. Some kind of match where you have to have a winner. I think that would have been more fitting. I don't think we're going to get an Iron Man match because WWE, as it is struggling to get people on the show. And when you do an Iron Man match, that takes up a big chunk of the show. I just don't know if we're ever going to see a match of that length again on a WWE pay-per-view because there's so many people on the roster now, and WWE likes to get everybody on the show when possible. I just don't know if we're going to see that in this era of WWE ever again. Maybe we will, but I feel like the odds are against it happening. D. Ross 2 says it should be a cup on a pole match. Interstate Kyle says loser becomes a woman. Braden says, aren't pay-per-views going to 4 hours, all of them? That is the news that is out today. Apparently, WWE is going to make every pay-per-view 4 hours, which I thought they were going to do with Backlash. I was a little surprised when Backlash was just a normal length pay-per-view. Now that we're getting both brands on every pay-per-view, you have a lot of people that will not be getting a match if you only have a 3-hour show. When you do a 4-hour show, you can get a few more matches in. 4 hours plus the kickoff, of course. And cheap plug, make sure you guys go over to Virtue's page, NoDQ.com Virtue, at 11 p.m., 8 p.m. Pacific time. That's 11 Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Virtue and Big Jeffrey will be doing a live video. So head over to NoDQ.com/Virtue for that if you're watching live, of course, right now. If you're watching on demand, it already happened. So go to NoDQ.com and you can watch the replay of that. But go over there and go troll those guys. Go troll them. NoDQ.com/Virtue. Next week we have, like I said, Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy. And we have the 6-man match, the New Day going up against the Bar and the Miz. Might be a decent show. Time will tell, though. So that's it for my review of SmackDown Live. Thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's edition of No DQ Live. I will be back later this week with No DQ Video, No DQ Review, Wrestling Trivia Challenge, and I will probably be doing another No DQ Live this weekend to let people call in on Skype. Tom McCarthy just sent in a $5 Super Chat donation, so don't click off the video yet. This is the last No DQ Live I'll be able to watch until SummerSlam. Oh no! I will be a counselor at a summer camp for the next 3 months. Thanks for all the laughs. Watch out for Jason. Just telling you. Hope you make it back in one piece, if you know what I mean. But sorry to hear that, Tom. I guess you guys don't have Wi-Fi wherever you're going to be. But thank you for the Super Chat donation. I appreciate it. Kevin says, so the Bar is the new Miz Taraj. I hope not. I hope for Cesaro and Sheamus' sake that they're not going to be downgraded to lackeys for the Miz. Just got a $2 Super Chat donation from Nelson. So you guys are keeping me on here. Do you see the big dog heading to SmackDown Live? This is actually a really interesting question because next year, if SmackDown is going to Fox, then one could argue that for the first time ever, SmackDown Live will be the A show because being on Fox is a huge deal. that is network television, primetime network television, and WWE is going to be wanting the ratings to be as strong as possible for that move to Fox. So yeah, I think there is a realistic possibility we could see somebody like Roman Reigns or Braun Strowman go over to SmackDown Live next year. I definitely think that that's a realistic possibility next year, because WWE is going to want to have the biggest numbers possible. It would be really weird to see SmackDown officially as the A show. I think for some fans, creatively, it feels like the A show already, and Raw feels like the B show. TJS says Sling doesn't have Fox. Well, I think there is a Fox app, but I don't know if you can watch it live. Well, Sling better get with the times here and get Fox. Otherwise, I'll have to jump to another streaming service. Axel just sent in a $5 super chat donation. So the video's not over yet, guys. Some people might click off the video, but if I get a super chat donation, I keep going. Axel with a $5 super chat donation. Thank you, Axel. Do you think Miz will win Money in the Bank? I think anything is possible. I don't think there's any absolute favorite for Money in the Bank. I think it could go any way. I think just about anybody in the men's Money in the Bank match could win it. I think Miz is a great choice. I think I would be happy with almost anybody winning Money in the Bank. Miz would be fine. I'd be fine with Joe. I'd be fine with just about anybody. Maybe not Strowman. Like I said, I don't think Strowman needs it. But everyone else, I feel, is fair game. Maybe Finn Balor wins it. Finn Balor finally gets his big push. Maybe Balor goes heel. Bobby Roode, a guy I would like to see go heel. I know I sound like a broken record here, but there are so many guys that could benefit from winning Money in the Bank and going heel. Samoa Joe doesn't. Samoa Joe could definitely win it and just be a heel, stay that way. Kayfabe Candy Ass says, I'll live stream guitar lessons on how to play WWE songs for $10,000. Yeah, so that's a pretty heavy asking price. Bailey is cool with a $2 super chat donation. Will Aleister Black be the main event of TakeOver? I don't think so. If I had to make a prediction, I would say it's going to be Gargano and Ciampa. What else could really be the main event? They headlined the last TakeOver. They started their feud. Well, they started it before. The seeds were planted before, but the big heel turn from Ciampa was last year at NXT TakeOver Chicago. So it's like a full circle. It has to be the main event. Gargano and Ciampa has to be the final match of that show, because there's no way anything will be able to follow it. And WWE doesn't screw around with the fans on the TakeOver shows. Nelson just sent in a $2 super chat donation. Y2J or The Miz on the mic? I like Y2J. Oh man, that is a tough one, because The Miz has really become one of the all-time great talkers in WWE over the past several years. I think it's an unfair comparison, because both of them still have many years left in their careers, especially The Miz. Jericho is starting to wind it down a little bit, go more on a part-time schedule. But if The Miz has another solid 5 years, then one might be able to say The Miz was better than Chris Jericho on the mic. Right now, I would say Jericho. But if The Miz keeps getting better at what he's doing, and he stays in the business another 5-10 years, I think it's certainly a possibility that The Miz could surpass Chris Jericho as far as being one of the all-time greats on the mic. Speaking of Mike B just left in a $2 super chat donation. Was the John Cena and Nikki Bella breakup a work? So this is the $1 million question for the people out there that actually care. I tend to think it is. I don't fully trust wrestlers, and I don't buy into this being legitimate when the timing of it was very convenient. Total Bellas was premiering, and of course, 1 month before it premieres, they're breaking up. And now there's talk, now that the show has aired, and by the way, the ratings were really disappointing for the show. I think it was the lowest rated episode of Total Bellas to date, despite this being a season premiere. Now, I know they did switch nights. They moved to Sunday nights from Wednesday nights, but still, I mean, with a very dedicated audience, you would think that the majority of people would know about the time slot change. And with all the hype, with all the buzz about John Cena and Nikki Bella, you would think people would know, okay, it's Sunday night, I'm going to see what's going on here. There just wasn't the interest. Which is funny because the Nikki Bella, John Cena breakup story has been one of the best news stories for NoDQ.com site traffic this year. I mean, I'm happy with the breakup story because it's getting more people going on the website. So I'm making more money from it. Kevin says, by the way, I'm digging your Mario periodic table t-shirt. Well, thank you for that. I got it at Target for anybody wondering. There's also a really cool Mario Kart, old school Super Mario Kart from the Super Nintendo that's available at Target. I picked that one up as well. Anthony says, people watching Fear the Walking Dead on Sundays on AMC. I really feel like they're two different audiences. See, with Total Bellas, I think it's mostly, well, maybe there is somewhat of a crossover, but I sense there really isn't. I don't really think Fear the Walking Dead had much of an impact on Total Bella's ratings. Not that many people are watching Fear the Walking Dead at this point either. Yes, Bradley, I do watch Fear the Walking Dead. I think it's a better show at this point than The Walking Dead. I still have my issues with it, but I do enjoy it. Riff Davidson is actually commenting in the chat room. Holy crap. There you go, guys. Proof that him and I are different people. Look, my hands are here. Riff Davidson is in the chat room typing. The Raw after SummerSlam, Aronson returns. #revive. Ooh, interesting. TJS says Breaking Bad is way better than The Walking Dead. Well, duh. That's like saying 1998 wrestling was better than today's wrestling. Duh. All right, guys, so I think that's it for the Super Chat donations. I will go ahead and wrap up this video. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership and support. Please spread the word. Best way you can show your support for NoDQ Live is to tell a friend. I know you know somebody who watches wrestling. Say, hey, check out Aaron Rift on YouTube. He does some great videos. Go on Facebook. Go on Twitter. Send smoke signals. Send somebody a snail mail letter. Whatever it takes. Let them know about NoDQ Live. And wait a minute. Just when I thought I was gone, just when I think I'm out, you pull me back in. Nelson with a $2 Super Chat donation. Do you prefer Raw's Corey Graves or SmackDown's Corey Graves? I really don't notice a difference. I really don't. I think Corey Graves is a fine announcer. I think he does a good job. I know some people love him. Some people think he's the new Bobby Heenan. I don't think he's there yet, but I think he's good. I just don't like Tom Phillips. Michael Cole, people get on his case, but I feel like he's just doing what he's told. He's got Vince in his headset, and he's told to say things. He's told to say the big dog 50 times a show, and Michael Cole's just doing his job. Corey Graves, I think, is fine. Michael Cole, I think, is fine. Not a fan of Tom Phillips. Not a fan of the rest of them. Not a fan of Booker T. Not a fan of Jonathan Coachman. Not a fan of the other guy, Byron Saxton. And that's pretty much it. So, on that note, thank you all for tuning in to NoDQ Live. Head over to NoDQ.com for the latest news regarding the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Head over to NoDQ.com/Chicago if you are going to be in the Chicago area, Money in the Bank weekend. We have a special meetup for Money in the Bank to celebrate 20 years of NoDQ.com. And that's all I got for you guys. I will see you all next time.